The other thing that I need to address before moving on is that I am a Canadian. And up here in Canada, we tend to get a lot of flack from our American brothers and sisters over our interaction and our, what's the word I'm looking for, dedication to their election. And I will say that we maybe not necessarily get as much flack as somebody in Europe or some other foreign country when they talk about the United States, but we get our fair share of like, what's wrong with you guys up here in Canada? Just leave us alone. Stop meddling in our election. But you have to recognize and understand that first of all, we are the America's closest neighbors and allies in trade, financially, business-wise, you name it, we're just right there on the border. The other thing that you have to also consider is that several Canadians have dual citizenship. So while they might physically live here in Canada, they can still vote on the American election because they have interests in the American election. It impacts them personally. And the final thing you have to consider is that by and large, on mass scale, Canadians know more about and care more about the US election than whatever the fuck happens in our own politics.
The Prime Minister, who appeared to be hiding a bagel in his desk.
Even people that I know. So, for example, I am in the furry fandom, and the chairman of one of the local furry cons happens to be extremely political on his Twitter account. Like, I mean, almost every day there is one or more or several posts about how Donald Trump is racist and a white supremacist and evil, and if Americans just, you know, smartened up and voted him out, then everything would be wonderful and perfect. And I think that the stuff he says is outlandish and a little bit off of the edge. And I'd like to maybe correct him and call him out on constantly putting out all this stuff accusing Donald Trump of X, Y, and Z, but I just don't engage in conversation with this particular individual at all, because he happens to be the chairman of the local furry convention, which I actually enjoy going to and would like to keep that privilege in the future to go to. That is how contentious the American election has come to the Canadian border, is that I might not be allowed to attend some kind of convention going forward if I said anything to this guy about the fact that I think he's wrong. It is insanity, okay? This stuff tears people's lives apart. Even up here in Canada, people have been disowned by their own family members for who they do or do not support in the American fucking election. So don't lecture me on being a Canadian who's involved in American politics. The other thing that a lot of Americans need to recognize and understand is that, and this is coming from both sides of the spectrum, whether you're left or right, there is a lot of talk recently about a coming civil war. And I think there is a great number of people, regardless of whether they're left or right, regardless of which candidate they support, that truly, honest to God, believe that regardless of who wins, whether it's Trump or Joe Biden, it is going to result in civil war. And what you need to understand as an American is that a civil war in America is going to drag the whole fucking world with it. This cannot be escaped. The entire world is going to be dragged into your guys' political shit.